there is new news that the state of Michigan very much knew of not only that General Motors had dumped its chemical waste in the Flint River dating back to the early 20th century, but it also, news has come out that the state of Michigan knew that cancer-causing chemicals known as PFAS, chemicals that are come in the manufacturing of cookware like Teflon, those cancer-causing chemicals were also found in the Flint River before the state moved the city onto the Flint River as its main drinking water source. The state knew that high levels of PFAS, again, cancer-causing chemicals, were in the Flint River, and they switched to the Flint River anyway. And according to Flint officials at the time and Flint residents, they weren't told about this. So before I get to this story, I want to play you the trailer. I want to play you the trailer to the documentary Ty is making of our Flint reporting. It's already on YouTube. It's almost at 100,000 views. It's our most watched video so far on this channel. I want to play you this trailer, and I'm going to play it for you for a very important reason, which you'll find out. So here we go. Hey folks, Jordan. It is my video diary. I might have uncovered some major, like capital C level corruption here. That if I can get enough people on the record, might prove that, let's just say, the numbers they've been using to declare the water safe here in Flint, corrupt. Not true. Cooked. Fake. Throw in your adjective.
They told me to turn the stuff on, let it run for a minute, and then catch the water.
You said they had let it run and then put the sample bottle in.
Did they tell you to let the water run first for a little bit and then put the bottle in there?
Yes.
Or to immediately put the bottle in there?
Literally.
There was just almost like this eureka moment, this light bulb moment that went off yesterday as I was talking to a resident here. And when he told us that he was told to let the water run for 4 to 5 minutes before testing, all our eyes like came out of its sockets, because you're not supposed to run your water before you test. When you run the water for several minutes before you test, that basically eliminates most of the lead, and you get a lower lead reading because you've run the water.
Shades around his eyes are burning, cigar in his mouth.
When the water crisis is over, and somebody stands up and says, hey, the water crisis is over, will anybody believe it?
No.
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 I know you can play games with whether or not you allow water to run before you test it, or how long you let it run, things like that.
I don't trust the city of Flint, the governor, any of them. I'm all broke out. I have picked my own pictures. I'm all broke out. I'm diabetic. I have like whips. And this is from the water.
Itching, breaking out, stuff like that.
My teeth. Yeah, so.
And I've had pneumonia.
My skin, my hair.
Oh, get it. Bro, I'm telling you. And I get them like, this bro. And they were worse.
My daughter did have a miscarriage. And you go to the doctor, they got the doctor saying, oh, it's okay. It's not okay. I'm living with this.
I'm living proof. You know, I'm here. Y'all going home to your own residence at the end of the day. When everything is done, I'm living it. It doesn't make any sense in this life.
youngest daughter, she's now got some learning disabilities.
How old?
She's 9.
Even though the American government probably fucked this woman. Look at that flag. Even though the American.
So I wanna leave an image of this young woman up for 1 second. Her name is Amanda Jean, and 34 years old. And as you could see, she's without her hair in chemotherapy. I talked to her extensively. Has 3 children and can't work while she's in chemo. The reason I'm showing you that image, and sorry for Facebook that you can't see it, I'm going to have Ty finally this week. He should be able to figure out how to get the graphics working with Facebook. Why I'm showing you this is because the story that came out today that the state of Michigan had knew that there were high levels of PFAS chemicals in the Flint River before they switched to the Flint River as Flint's primary drinking water source. PFAS chemicals can affect your thyroid. And thyroid cancer is what Amanda has. I want to be very careful. I'm not a doctor, so obviously, no firm way to say, oh yeah, this is definitely what caused somebody's cancer, right? Can't say that, but I can point out, Amanda is 34. She never had any health problems in her life before they switched the water in April 2014. This is what she told me. Never had any health problems before they switched the water in April 2014. About 6 months later, that's when she found spots on her kidney. She was drinking the water from the tap. They found spots in her kidney. Then several months later, she started having migraines, heart palpitations, and other symptoms of your problems with your thyroid. And then at the end of 2016, that's when she was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. Thyroid cancer, generally speaking, women are at more risk for thyroid cancer, and generally speaking, age 40 or above. She's 34. So again, no way for me to say, yes, this is definitely what caused her cancer. But we can say this. The Flint River, and I'm about to read you the story. Here we go. Testing of the Flint River showed rising levels of PFAS contamination before it was used as the city's water source 4 years ago. But while that information was shared within state government in a report authored by a Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Division Director, it may have never been shared with the decision makers in city government. The report, quote, measuring perfluorinated compounds in Michigan surface waters and fish, showed that 2 samples from the river, both taken downstream, north of Flint, had the second and third highest concentration of PFAS, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances in testing at 13 separate sites in the state in 2011 and 2013. PFAS are a group of man-made chemicals that have been used in a variety of products to make them resistant to heat, oil, stains, grease, and water since the 1940s, according to the EPA. The chemicals can accumulate over time in the body and in the environment, and exposure to PFAS has been linked to increased risk for cancer, thyroid, and liver damage. Again, cancer, thyroid, and liver damage. It's not clear in May 2015. DHHS spokeswoman Angela Minicucci said the report was shared with 3 other state agencies, the Department of Environmental Quality, which has been shown to lie and cover things up repeatedly, the Department of Natural Resources, and the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, as well as EPA. But Minicucci can't say whether the information ever made its way to locally elected officials or state-appointed emergency managers in Flint City Hall who were in a position to shift policy on the city's water source. Quote, I'm not aware of it being shared with the city, and that's not how we would utilize a grant such as this, Minucci said in an email to MLive. We completed this report to fulfill a grant reporting requirement and then used the data we gathered from this grant to update the Eat Safe Fish guidelines. What in the hell is this person talking about? And the former mayor of Flint, Dane Walling, said he was not told about this. He was not told about this. So let me get this straight. The Department of Environmental Quality in Flint, in Michigan, which signed off on them switching to the Flint River, knew that there were high levels of a cancer-causing chemical which can cause cancer, thyroid, and liver damage in the Flint River. But because of some nonsense, this is not what the grant was meant for, like an email couldn't have been sent, or some phone calls couldn't have been made, or some meetings could have been made or organized to say, hey, not only does the Flint River have a century of dumping from General Motors, but there's also these concerning chemicals that could cause cancer. And once again, there's no way for me to clearly say that's what caused this fine woman, Amanda Jane, cancer. I've talked to Amanda many times. She also has a spot in her kidney that unfortunately they haven't been able to biopsy because her immune system is too weak. But 34-year-olds who never have a health problem and then 6 months after drinking the water have spots on their kidney, and then a year after drinking the water have thyroid cancer. You do the math. I mean, it's irresponsible. I'm not going to say this is definite, but there were chemicals in that water that could have contributed to her cancer and her thyroid being depleted. This is now proven. And it's not even being discussed in the media.